Hello, hello. So we are going to be doing the astrology year of 2026. So this is my first time doing a public version. I go about this a little differently. I will talk about a little bit of my overviews for general astrology, planets, and signs type of thing. But for the most part, we'll be just going through the different full moon, new moon in play this year under the gene keys and human design positions. And so I have little themes that we'll be talking about for each month. And we'll start with the year overview. So we'll start there. And yay, welcome, welcome, welcome. As you know, if you've been watching, you can win $20 if you comment below and you're already a subscriber. And yeah, and then I'll message you if you answer the message within 24 hours, then I will get in touch with you so I can get you the card. If you don't message me back within the 24 hours, it'll go to the next comment on the video. So thank you for anybody who's commenting for the first time, coming out of the bubble to join us on this fun giveaway experience on the channel. And yeah, let anybody you know that's interested in learning more about the gene keys or incorporating more of human design into their work and daily life, know about what's going on over here. Okay. So here we go. Here we go. In 2026, it is a year of action. There's nothing slow about this year. I do believe we still have time for winter's rest. We are in winter, and as long as there is winter, there is availability of rest. And there are some pretty potent energies that are driving us forward, helping us to want more movement and action and getting things done, depending on how it's showing up in your chart, right? So don't be too shy about that. If you know something you want to get it done, right? But if it's something that you just feel like you need to do to keep up or to complete something from last year, probably not needed. You can rest is going to do much more than finishing something else. So, but if there are some strong energies, especially in January, around speaking into initiating things that we know want to be part of how we are building ourselves up or in our careers and our purpose over time. So don't be afraid of jumping in on those things. Just don't make them take up 24/7 of your time because you also need time to rest. So I'm doing it in a way that is kind of like all in at times and then all out at times. I'm doing full-on meditations with a black mask and up to 2-hour meditations, sometimes more for the day cumulatively. So don't be afraid of just tuning out for a second because the more you do that, the more you'll have the energy to do the things, which what I'm seeing right now is that a lot of people have just not taken that time and they are exhausted. And so they really want to keep moving, but it's the energy is just not there. So we don't want that to move into the new year because it is a fire horse year. It is a fire horse year. It's about the movement, it's about aligned action, and action can only be aligned if we have the energy to be aware enough that we are aligned and that we're moving in a way that is supported and um, catalyzed by source energy and not just pushing ourselves and getting into exhaustion, right? So, in the beginning of the year for the Gregorian calendar, we're still in the old year, so it's still the year of Jupiter, still the wood snake year, even though we're starting to see some of those shifts already happening because nothing happens in black and white. It's still not as fast as we are feeling it's going to be. And that's kind of part of the drive that's pushing in. We still are in the kind of a culminating mode. We're gathering the things that we need to know. We're gathering the people we need with us. We're gathering. So don't feel like everything has to be forward, right? In this January, we are going to be moving into, so Jupiter is currently in 62, which is gate 62, or gene key 62, the gift of precision, and it's going to be moving into 53, the gift of expansion on, oh, it already moved, sorry. It happened on the 6th. So some of that feelingness is that giddy up. It's that giddy up because we're also feeling that alignment that it's having um, with other energies in the chart. So it's this feelingness of more energy to to grow, expand, create even. And this is the time to do it because as we get later into the year, it's really going to be about a sort of a tempering, a equalizing, a even diving even deeper into the truth of who we are and what we're here for in a way that um, is visible, no, but receiving what the truth is from the outside world as well. So this is the time to do personal projects and get them up and off the ground. Okay. But again, give it at least until February if you're not already in the throes of it and don't feel like you have to get it all done now. Right. So you have a little bit of time. And February is the Lunar New Year, which to me is the official New Year. So that to me, you have another chance at it. And if you miss that one, there's the spring equinox New Year, right? So always know that you have as much time as you need. Okay. Also, Saturn is moving from 36, the gift of humanity, to 25, the gift of acceptance. So 25 is a big theme for the year. It's going to come up in a lot of different areas, but mostly in this slow moving planet of Saturn. It's this feelingness of really understanding that we can take a full breath in and air where we are, where as we are. We do not have to wait for everything to be perfect to feel the whole of the truth of what's happening in this moment, to be fully present and to appreciate that. That's going to be a theme for the year. So let's start absorbing some of those Saturn lessons in that regard. And yeah, and so we have a lot of fire energy. Chiron is in Aries. Pisces, I'm sorry, Neptune is moving from Pisces to Aries at the end of the month. So January 27th, we're moving from kind of this openness and psychic realm and mediumship and comfortable in the liminal space to an Aries energy of imagining and what's coming next. What are we doing? Intuition as far as how we are going to be in a greater evolution and expansiveness. And so it's make may aggrandize certain things in a way that may not be true necessarily in this year, but they will be moving forward. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't get tired of it not coming to fruition all the time immediately. But some big things will come to fruition, especially been working on them since last year. So again, don't assume anything, but truly appreciate what is where you are. Because again, I said Neptune was gate 25 was going to be a theme. The new position of Neptune is 25. All right, so we have that conjunction happening. Very strong energy, but it is the energy of manifestation. We have this, it is the structure meeting the ethereal, the open, the possibility of expansion. And so understanding that again, Jupiter moving into expansion as well. So that Jupiter is expansion. So it is that there's a lot of support in having things come to fruition. We just really want to be open to how they're coming to fruition. Okay. So those are kind of the overarching themes. I'll let you know when they change as we go through the months. For January, let's move into the focus of the moon. So we have full moon in Cancer that happened on January 3rd. The video for that is already out on the channel. That was gate 39.4. And Gene Key said it's the shadow of provocation, the gift of dynamism, and the city, SIDDHI, of liberation. It is an energy that's moving in our body graph from the root to our emotion center. And so it is this feelingness of being provoked to live. So, like this feelingness of having life come to fruition, this pressure to create. So, if you're wondering, like, where is all this pressure coming from? I know it's winter. I have learned this lesson, right? But you still feel this pressure to move forward. That's where it's coming from. But and the full moon energy is asking us to reevaluate what is provoking us. And is it really what we want to be exemplifying or causing or catalyzing our actions? And can we rewrite whatever the listening program is there to do that differently? Because the new moon on January 9th, 18th, 19th in the East Coast probably, but over here on the Pacific, it's the 18th. So we will be using Pacific times for this. And it's new moon Capricorn and it's 60.3. So that is the gene key of the shadow limitation, the gift of realism, and the city of justice. And it's the energy from the root to the sacral. And in this, what is helping us to understand is that there's an innate understanding of what allows things to evolve. We talk about magic, and so I'll be doing that video a little bit later in the month about what is the magic about understanding our limitations. It's a beautiful chapter in the Gene Keys book, so if you have the book, delve in. It's a good one, helping us to understand what it takes. Little hint here. Magic happens. This is a paraphrase from the book. Magic happens through structure and an open mind. So you need a structure, some way of it coming into the 3D reality and the openness to see however it may need to be flexible and adaptable to the environment, and anything can be created from there. So the theme for January is catalyzing sovereignty. Like how are we fueling and feeding the truth of who we are and how we create, right? All right, moving on to February. Our theme for February, like some of these, I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to use that word. But sometimes you gotta go with what is. Um, and the theme for February is conscious consumption. Okay. And a lot of people, I don't know, I'm feeling this in energy more than I am because I don't have a ton of people to run this by. But a lot of people are waiting on purchases, and I do think that's going to let up a little bit this year. Again, I feel like every time more and more extreme changes are taking place, we get a little restricted, constricted around those things, and it keeps people from making moves that are for them to move them forward. I think some of us are going to realize that we really can't wait. We can't wait for things to be better or differently acting in the external world. We really are going to have to live at the same time as all of these things are changing and happening. And then really we're learning to trust in a higher source, right? It's something that's beyond any one person, any one action, and that we can depend on our own impetus. And that's really what this year is teaching us, that to depend on our own impetus. But it's been in the field for a while. We've been talking this way over here on impact in my company for at least 3 years. We've been talking about how we're going to need to be fueled and motivated by our own truth because there's too much changing for it to be our indicator of what's the right next step. Not a lot of truth in the right way to do something that's going to obviously mean success. as you move forward. There's going to be things that are going to start to shift into that truth, but they are not there yet. And so in this in-between time, it's about just trusting the truth of who you are to evolve you to what's for you next and not making it right or wrong. It really is. So February in this Aquarius Tiger energy, we're moving into the Fire Horse year officially on the 17th is the Lunar New Year. And it is solar energy, it's volatility. It can be reckless, it is wild, it is free, it's liberation, it's magnificence, it's movement. Aligned action is really how I've summarized that for myself. But it really depends on the person, right? So I think, how do you feel those activating words? How do you feel those? Hexagram 45 is the hexagram of the year, and it is gathering together. When I say like we're still kind of bringing everything together, that is part of it. We're coming out of 44, the year. So right now we're still in 44 hexagram, and that is the teamwork hexagram for Gene Keys. So that just so you know. And so that is about gathering the team, right? And then the 45 is gathering together in a space. There's some things about that, about like what does it mean to be in the right space? Is it like they speak in animal language in the hexagram Chinese I Ching, and it's about, do these animals live together? Do they work together? Do they support each other? Or are they fighting? Are they fighting? And so that is what's shifting in our year energy. 45 in Gene Keys is the shadow of dominance, the gift of synergy, and the city of communion. So synergy, right? It's like how are we working well together in a space? This is about who can we trust ourselves with ourselves. Not necessarily can we trust them, but can we trust ourselves to be ourselves with them? And that doesn't always mean that they're going to be the absolute perfect person and do it the absolute perfect way. I think we need to stop thinking that that's the only way to have a relationship with somebody, is for them to be finished and completely a high, vibe person, this kind of idea. We all have our moments, we all have our traumas and patterns. So it's more about just knowing the truth of who you are and knowing that you can fully trust yourself to show up fully in that relationship. And then you can work through everything else, right? So that, and then the Saturn is moving into Pisces. I mean, from Pisces to Aries. So again, with Neptune, they're going to be in Aries together at 0 degrees around the same time. I do believe that's around the eclipse. This is like this energies are really intense this year. So there's no small movements, which is why I'm mentioning them. I didn't really mention a lot of movement last year, but I'm mentioning them this year because they're in really strong degrees and really strong movements. And so there's no like quietly tiptoeing and generally integrating. Like there is just movement, and it's quick and it's real, and yet you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. So again, as it moves into Aries, we're getting into that 25 energy that is going to show up throughout the year. So might as well pay attention to it now. That is the shadow of constriction, the gift of acceptance, and the city of universal love. And it's really about the truth of spirit and how we are recognizing it. Think of that when you're living in those collaborations, in those teams, in those places, and the truth of being in our truth in action. So the full moon in Leo will be on February 1st. It is 33.6, the shadow of forgetting, the gift of mindfulness, and the city of revelation. That is in the body graph, go the throat going into the G center. And so it is this, how are we emanating, how are we manifesting, how are we living our truth of the essence of our being, which is love. The G center is our heart. And so it is love. I don't know why they call it a G center. It just is. It just is. That's a human design thing. Take it up with them. And then February 17th, we're going into new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, which again is around the same time as Saturn moving into Aries, Neptune being in Aries at 0 degrees. And so again, really strong echoing. So, eclipse energy echoes in a 6-month radius. And so it's really giving us this, you know, be here now, the truth of yourself and love, and how does love come through you and root into truth for you, because that new moon solar eclipse is 30.5, the shadow of desire, the gift of lightness, and the city of rapture, and it's emotion to the root, emotion center to the root center. And so it is about how are we allowing ourselves to experience our desires in a way that is bringing us more life, but not an expectation of a result. So, like trusting the experience is part of that, or trusting the desire itself and letting it motivate you without you feeling like if it doesn't go exactly how you imagined it in your head, then it's not meaningful or useful, right? So that is so a little bit about that. March, we are having some changes as well. We're getting a bit of Mars energy into we're going from the year of Jupiter, depending on kind of the tradition you're following, the year of Jupiter to the year of Mars. So again, moving out of this just expansive, go bigger energy to a Mars, which is going to feel a lot like conflict, a lot like restriction, but still a lot of movement. And so if we are learning even in this month to take those conflicts, those provocations as impetus to what we're creating and being more in the truth of who we are in that creation, instead of the other thing that could happen, which we can probably imagine. The shift in Jupiter will be from 53 to 39, the shadow of provocation, the gift of dynamism, and the city of liberation. And if you remember, that was also our new moon for January. Okay. So we're having repeating themes. Does that sound familiar? Repeating themes to help us understand what we get to learn this year. And part of it is that we're not going to take things that look hard or feel like they're coming at us as something going wrong. We're going to take that as an impetus to evolve, to be more creative, to have an inner understanding that helps us to be more centered in who we are, regardless of what's happening. And we'll need that. We'll need that for the year and for the rest of the year. Okay. So March, we have on the 3rd, the full moon in Virgo, a total lunar eclipse. And that is in gate 64.1. It is the shadow of confusion, the gift of imagination, and the city of illumination. This is in the body graph from the head to the ajna. And so this the getting the wisdom and applying it to the truth of our experience. I'll quickly talk about this. I think of this as the art of life, of receiving energy, information, experience, and processing it into something that's beautiful. So that is the theme of March, the beauty of life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, regardless. Anything can be made into art. And so if we are in our creative truths, then we can have that experience. And March emphasizes again on the 18th, new moon in Pisces, gate 25, 25.1, the shadow of constriction, the gift of acceptance, the city of universal love. I was not lying to you. It's going to keep coming up, okay, in different ways. So We've already got that echoed through the other Neptune, Saturn, right? And now the moon is like anchoring that in Pisces and is saying, listen, like we are one. We are the world. Yeah, it is a bit of that song, right? The body graph, that's G to the will. G to the will. So the heart to the will. um, if it doesn't feel like the truth, then we make it the truth within us. Of love is everything. Love is everything. Love is life. Life is the beauty of living the experience of moving to and from the truth of love, right? So we're getting that through theme throughout March. In April, we got a theme of getting creative. We're gonna have to get creative in March. It's the shifts are, well, there's a line movement from the 45 hexagram. We're moving into a shoot and have faith that it's gonna go. We're not expecting anything here. We're just believing. We're believing that things are going to hit the target. And in Uranus, we're having the biggest movement. So we have Uranus moving from Taurus to Gemini on the 27th, and then moving from the gate of 8 to gate 20. And Gene Keys, that is gate 8, is the shadow of mediocrity, the gift of style, and the city of exquisiteness. And the gate 20 is the shadow of superficiality, the gift of self-assurance, and the city of presence. And so this is not the only time again for that. It's going to come up again. When I say that, I mean gate 8 and gate 20. Both of those are coming up again through the year. So it's something to pay attention to. Uranus is trying to help us out by saying things are changing. This is how that feels. This is how things are going to happen unexpectedly. It's going to be according to the uniqueness of who you are and your experience of being in your truth. That's self-assurance. And on April 1st, full moon is in Libra. It is gate 48.4, the shadow of inadequacy, the gift of resourcefulness, and the city of wisdom. This is the body graph, spleen to throat. So we're getting the impetus of our instincts of survival to be spoken to, acted upon, manifested. It is being resourced by the truth of our own human experience, really. And April 17th is the new moon in Aries, 3.2, the shadow of chaos, the gift of innovation, the city of innocence. It's moving from the body graph sacral to the root. It's getting back to the truth of our experience as human, which is everything has changed. Everything has changed. That shadow is the truth of the experience. And then the innovation is our understanding of the perspective that allows us to keep creating, right? So innovation is you got to take the change. Uranus is saying sudden change in this way, and it is in the way of the truth of who we are and the beingness of who we are. And that's our version of innovation. That is our truth in action in the world. And nobody's going to do it like us. So it's always innovative. And that is one of the elements of how structures will stand moving forward. Is it adapting? Um, is it resourced by the wisdom of our truth, our experience, and what we have spent time in? And that is how we build successfully moving forward. It's going to look a little fuzzy as you move forward, but it's giving you that understanding now. So getting creative is how we build strong things moving forward. Okay. So all of our creative people are like, I wish the world was built for us. It's about to be. It is about to be. This is the initiation of that. So the more that you live your truth, the more that people can understand how that works. And the more people are going to look to you for how that works. So Be in your truth, and you will be in the position of abundance and authority that you are meant for. Okay? Not no no I forget what I was gonna say, but like not tripping. It's for real. It's for real. It's real stuff. All right, May, we have some shifts. We have Jupiter moving from it's still in Cancer, but it's moving from gate 53 to 62. And so 62 is the shadow of intellect, the gift of precision, and the city of impeccability. And that is, the magic of words. That is my life's work. So as it moves into this this Cancer energy, we're getting a lot more of that understanding of what is creating our truth of our said experience. A lot of times we're saying things because it's what other people have said and what we believe is meant to be true based on what we experienced already. Precision is about allowing the wisdom to be the source of the clarity of which is flowing through us. Life flowing, inspiration, you can think of it that way, because that's how I think of its programming partner, which is 61. That programming partner is about that life source inspiration being the open-mindedness of which we approach our provocation, which is again the energies in January right now. So we have Saturn moving from 25 in Aries to 21 in Aries, which is the shadow of control, the gift of authority, and the city of valor. And so that is that structure living into structure. It's basically saying how does true authority move in? We have to understand that we're also getting some not direct. It's moving a little further away, but we're still having influences from Pluto in Aquarius when these energies are together. And so we want to not ignore that. We don't want to ignore that too much. And those things are basically living together to help us understand a new way to build stability, right? So listen to these little changes. They will make a difference. Neptune is moving from 25 into 17 of opinion is the shadow, the gift of farsightedness, and the city of omniscience. And our full moon in May is Scorpio. And then we have that in the gate 44.4, the shadow of interference, the gift of teamwork, the city of synarchy. This is body graph spleen to will. And this is that, like, if you haven't done it already, you get another chance at gathering your people, gathering your spaces, or knowing your spaces in which you want to gather, and asserting that as the truth of how you are creating, which is the May 16th new moon in Taurus, 8.2. Sound familiar? But again, we get themes for the year. So when these things are coming up, it's why we talk about them. 8.2 is if you remember the shadow of mediocrity, the gift of style, the city of exquisiteness. This is the body graph throat to G center. So this again is the truth of who you are and your infinitely unique qualities. Mediocrity is about copying everybody else. Style is about the truth of how you see beauty and how you show, express, create it. Okay. And so the theme of May is doing it my way. And May 31st, we have another full moon in Sagittarius, and that is gate 9.5, the shadow of inertia, the gift of determination, and the city of invincibility. That is body graph sacral to root center. Again, I feel like this is that anchoring in of the truth of that. It's like you gather the people that are for you, be the truth of who you are, keep moving forward. So that shadow is inertia. Determination is moving in the way that is true for you, whether you're moving forward or not, letting it be truly right because it's truly you. All right. So moving into June. So we're moving into the second half of the year. Get a little bit more water. Yeah. Been talking a lot today, and I've not been talking throughout winter's rest. So it's like, wow, okay, this takes energy. That was a good one. It's my new copper water bottle Daryl got for us. Okay. So in June, let's check out our theme. Our theme is power of truth in service. It's the power of truth in service. What is changing? We get that line 3 of the hexagram 45. It's again talking about that assembly, getting us all together, but people are complaining. People are complaining in that assembly. They're squabbling over little stuff. So, how are we living in that change? What are we getting to support us? We're getting Jupiter moving from Cancer to Leo, which is moving into that shining that light, right, on the June 30th, so late June. We're moving that from 62 to 56 on June 13th, so a little bit earlier. We're moving from precision to intimacy. So, how do we deal with that squabbling? By telling our truth, being in the moment, letting ourselves be transparent in what we want to be closer and in alignment with others on. If we don't want to be with those people, then we don't need to be intimate with them, right? But if you do want a good relationship, then you have to be a little bit more vulnerable. That is that message coming through from Jupiter. That is what creates expansion, abundance, evolving ourselves to our next level, which a lot of us are usually interested in. And June 14th is the new moon in Gemini, which is 12.2, the shadow of vanity, the gift of discrimination, which I like to call discernment, and the city of purity. And so it's that feeling. It's Gemini. It's that feeling. It's just like they know the thing that is the essence of the thing, right? And that's the ability to hone in on that from the body graph throat to emotion. They know what's going to tap into the truth of our experience, which is that emotive center, right? And so that's what that gift is bringing in and out of us. That is what we get to discern. We get to, that is the word, right? But that is our ability. We can discern the truth of beauty in our uniqueness. And other people, this is why people say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because it is the truth of your perspective that makes the thing beautiful. And that is, again, what we're learning a lot more about this year is how important it is to have that truth with your own perception and to live in it and to act from it, not to be waiting on other people to get it together for us to be able to do that. June 29th is the full moon in Capricorn. It's 58.5, the shadow of dissatisfaction, the gifts of vitality, and the city of bliss. It is body graph root to spleen. And this is really just about where do we get our ability to keep going? Right. So that power of truth, we get our ability by sticking with the truth, our personal truth. And that doesn't mean, and we're going to get the rest of the lesson here in a bit. That doesn't mean an absentia of other people's truths. It means that we are clear on ours so that we can be in collaboration with others on theirs. Um, and July is the theme of speaking things into existence. So this is really like a kind of a power time. We're culminating from the summer of the previous year. So A lot of this energy, especially between Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, a lot of this energy was getting kicked off in that time, and it's having a bit of a reprisal coming out of June and into July. And what shifts here is Jupiter firmly in Leo now, attracting that good stuff from the magnet anonymity, being effusively ourselves with others. And the Jupiter gate will be 56, moving on July 10th to gate 31, which is gene key, the shadow of arrogance, the gift of leadership, and the city of humility. It is the leader in the quantum human design. So it is this understanding of what it takes to, yes, be wholly who you are, but in the beauty of the synergy of being that with others. And but this is how do we do that? How do we do it? It's by using our mouths. So we have the new moon in Cancer on July 14th at 62. Okay, we already had that lesson a little bit earlier. 62.2, the shadow of intellect, the gift of precision, the city of impeccability, the body graph of the throat to the ajna center. So, this speaking of our truth and a greater understanding. Okay. And the July 29th, the full moon in Aquarius is kind of allowing us to make some space for that too. So, not getting stuck in not having that meet others where they are. We have the gate 41.5, the shadow of fantasy, the gift of anticipation, and the city of emanation. This is a glimpse again of the rest of the year. Root to emotion center on our body graph. It's this understanding that we already letting our emotional senses and the different like some of us that are a little bit more into energy work, you might understand that that's a different field of the aura, not just emotion, but a sensibility of that movement of energy that allows us to truly anticipate. So that is the truth of prediction. It's not necessarily that we're just guessing at what's happening. It's seeing the thing in completion in our truth, in our vision, and then speaking it and creating the possibility through small actions. And the unfolding is anticipated. So it's not necessarily that all the manifestation happens at once, but it's what brings the thing into existence is living with that truth and speaking it. August, August, our theme is Freedom Trail. I subtitled this one, Guidance into Universal Expansion. So I don't think we have too many changes. We do have a couple. So we have line 4 of 45. Fortune favors the great. This is really leading into a lot of the energy that we're getting from Jupiter moving into Leo. And Leo and Jupiter will be moving from 31 to 33 to 7 in August. So we'll have a nice range. Listen to these gifts. 31, the gift of leadership, which you heard about from July, it was in there. 33, the gift of mindfulness. The truth of mindfulness is that we are one, we are not separate, right? The 7, the gift of 7 is guidance. So the difference between telling to have people understand why we are separate, why we are above, why something is right, why something is wrong, that's division, that's the shadow. Guidance is the gift, seeing how we can help others see the beauty of moving in one form towards something. And the vision, going back to the theme on July, of what it'll look like in that culmination when we are all doing that together. So August 12th, New Moon Leo is gate 4.1. the shadow of intolerance, the gift of understanding, and the city of forgiveness. It is the body graph ajna to the head center. And it's really that feelingness of seeing what is and living the truth of our knowledge of love. Okay. And so, first seeing what is, being clear on what is, we can get a little uppity about that stuff. Ah, I shouldn't be that way. Ah, I don't want to have to live like this, this kind of feeling. And then it's going to have that movement. I'm sorry, I missed the Neptune, the Neptune shift from 17 to 25. So it's going back into 25 Aries, constriction, acceptance, universal love. Again, these themes echo, all right? And then the August full moon is on the 28th in Pisces. And that is 55.6, the shadow of victimization, the gift of freedom, the city of freedom. So you can see sometimes where I get these words, right? Freedom trail being the theme. How do we get to that freedom? How do we be in that freedom? How do we lead, guide in that freedom? We've been getting that lesson since June, July. Okay, that when Jupiter moved into Leo, right? Through understanding, through the understanding, and through that. Let me see. Let me back up so I can actually get the actual. Yeah, it's leadership. It's that intimacy piece, that precision piece. So precision is really about the truth of your own words, like what you really want to say, coming from the heart and the authority of wisdom within you, coming through you. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah, we have that August. Oop, I skipped past where we were. So that's our Freedom Trail. In September, we have the theme of loving what is. So that's exciting because I read the book and we did it on Vision, uh, that podcast we did on Vision a couple of years back. And so that's still available on the YouTube channel. Loving What is a book, and it is one of the more confronting things that I've read on love in action in this 3D reality. And that's the feelingness to me of this month. It's like, oh, nobody's gonna like that. They're gonna turn the channel, you know? But it is what's there. In September, we have this Jupiter movement from 7 to 4. So from guidance being the gift to understanding. Again, the echo of that 4. I knew that was coming, right? So that shadow of intolerance, the gift of understanding, the city of forgiveness. So we had that at new moon, full moon before, and it's giving us a deeper anchoring of that this is where expansion lies in the inclusiveness of the truth of all of our experiences. And September 10th, new moon is in Virgo, shadow 47.2, the shadow of oppression, the gift of transmutation, the city of transfiguration. From Ajna to the head center, we're being asked to, go above and beyond, live in our wisdom and allowing that to be present in our reality. And that is that transmutation, living the shift, living the dimensional experience of love within this now reality. September 26th, a full moon in Aries, 25.6 is the gate. This is Gene Key of shadow of constriction, the gift of acceptance, the city of universal love. Does that sound familiar? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Yeah, so that is the body graph G to the will center again. What I said, I said it already. Loving what is. All right, and October, what do we got going on? We get another line shift into gathering into position of the hexagram 45 of that synergy. What does that allow? Getting in position to to see people in a new light. That's the best way I'm going to say that right now. The people that you may not have believed could be seen in a good light, being seen in a good light. So there's something universal and maybe even international in that implication. So we'll see how that wants to manifest. Um, then we have Saturn that's going to shift from 21 to 17, which 17 is the gene key, a shadow of opinion, the gift of farsightedness, and the city of omniscience. Um, Karen Curry Parker calls this in quantum human design anticipation. So we're getting again this repeating idea of we can tell what's going to be and we can position ourselves that way if we are open to the truth of our own words. Our intuition is what that's another way of saying that, our own words, and living that experience in a way that is allowing for others to be in the space with it that are desirable, desiring of that, and or respond to that by being clear that that's where we're headed, right? So October 10th, we have a new moon in Libra at 57.3, shadow of unease, gift of intuition, the city of clarity. This is body graft, spleen to throat. This is our instinct of picking up everything we need to know to move. Okay. And the October 25th, we have the full moon in Taurus, 27.2, the shadow of selfishness, the gift of altruism, the city of selflessness. So sacral to spleen, this is how do we do this in a way that allows ourselves and our we sense to thrive. The theme here is listening with your heart. So it's really pounding in that intuition, that farsightedness, that anticipation, so that you can trust it. Know that that is the way forward, always, right or wrong, success or failure. It is the way forward, right? And our shift in November, let's see what we got there. Not a ton, but of shifting, but we have the theme of fulfillment in creating beauty. And I think again, this is hammering home like how do we create and how do we create what is beautiful, right? From our style, from our perspective has been going on throughout the year. So we've got Jupiter shifting from 4 to the 29 on November 2nd. So that is the shadow of half-heartedness, the gift of commitment, and the city of devotion. So really Jupiter's like, oh yeah, you want something to come to fruition? Then you can't just do something halfway just because you don't know where the world's going, just because you don't know, like you can't put it in writing exactly what date something's going to happen and hand it over on that slip of paper, and so people can prove that you're right. That's not how this works. That what you get is you get to be fully in on what you're here for, and then it will come to fruition as into how much you are aligned to it and how much energy you have created within it, and then how much you have acted on that so that it has created something within the world. November 8th, new moon in Scorpio. 1.5 is the gene key shadow of entropy, the gift of freshness, and the city of beauty. Yeah, I know, right? Weird how these things come together. The body graph is G heart to throat center. So, yeah, yeah. We again kind of had the forecast of that of saying, listening with your heart, right? Fulfillment, being in that listening and creating something beautiful out of it. The truth of our experience. Full moon in Gemini on November 24th, right before the holidays. And we have 20.3, Again, that's an echo. Remember, we talked about that earlier. The shadow of superficiality, the gift of self-assurance, and the city of presence, throat to spleen center. So again, how are we allowing the truth, our spoken word to be in the beingness of who we are, that it feels natural. We did have a picture of that last year, naturalness being a theme from last year. So really trusting that our way, that is natural, that is energizing to ourselves is the way we get to create something beautiful, and trusting that and going with that. December, I was tired. I didn't know if it was just me, but my theme that I just decided to leave with in December was recharging the battery. I feel like that's what we need to be doing right now, coming for a full circle. And it doesn't all have to be done at once. Take an hour here or there, take a day here or there if you have that ability, and just deeply go within so that when it's time to move outward and forward, that you're not doing it without an alignment and the truth of yourself in in the seat of what's going on, right? So in December, let's see, I don't think there's any major shifts, y'all. Um, yeah, pretty much. Nothing changes until January outside of it being line six, with both hands, having both our hands open and to receive the divine outpouring. So that is that theme that we want to just know that we have to be in receptivity to receive these things. We have to be in receptivity, and that's why the rest is necessary, because rest is how we move into receptivity. So when we move into that relaxation, and then we can receive the energy, receive the light, receive the wisdom, receive the intuition that is going to be the impetus for this year, right? So continuing to allow ourselves to be open to that. December, we get that on the 8th with the new moon in Sagittarius. Woohoo, right? Jupiter's home is giving us this abundance of light through 5.6, the gene key of the shadow of impatience, the gift of patience, and the city of timelessness. It's giving us this pause, is how I see that. And, moving into solstice, I think that's a perfect time. So it's telling you, like, I'm gonna set you up for that. This is how you receive that. Like, if you're, probably during that time would be a great time to do it. But if it's not possible, making a plan so that you get to do it on the solstice or sometime that later that month. Okay. December 23rd, we have full moon in Cancer. So we get Cancer energy early. It's not unusual, right? But it is welcome. That nurturing of the truth of who we are. That's really that mother energy and its divinity. So letting that be received in that gate of 15.5, Gene Key's shadow of dullness, the gift of magnetism, and the city of fluorescence. So allowing ourselves to just be the receptor, the battery, the chalice, the vessel. These are words that I was thinking of as possible themes. Being that so that we can be in the receptivity of that divine light that is so dominant and predominant in winter solstice time. Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed my first public year review. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to hang out with us, we do have a membership, Cosmic Creatrix membership, where we talk about the astrology. We talk about how it lines up for us in our charts, and how to be in concert with the energy and what we're about during the month. So, if you want to comment below, or you can just click the link in the YouTube description box, and that will take you to something that will be on the mailing list so that you can make sure you can know when these things are coming up and when you can join in. Okay. But the membership's open anytime. You really just have to tell me you're interested, and then I'll get in touch with you so you can join in the fun. Okay. I hope you are going to really, really soak in some energy so you can really, really live the expansiveness available in this new year of 2026. And I will see you through all of our new moon, full moon transits. We'll get even deeper on the gene keys and talk about how they like to be played in us and through us and our divinity on this planet, on our sovereignty. So I will see you more later. Have a beautiful rest of your day.